What if I told you that the entire universe, from black holes to monster galaxies to grasshoppers, could all disintegrate to an end just like that, at any given instant? Although it sounds a lot like the bad ending to Avengers Endgame, it's actually one of many possibilities, all drawn from our modern understanding of physics and cosmology. From the cold, quiet whimper of the last stars to the sudden and complete stoppage of time itself, there are many different ways experts believe the universe will reach its end, some of which are very scary, some bizarre, and some actually kind of beautiful. In this video, I will go over my 5 favorite theories, drawn from the most credited opinions today, as well as a couple that flat out blew my mind that they could even be considered possible. We'll start off the list with the most widely accepted theory by our current understanding of the universe: heat death. Also known as the Big Freeze, a title which gives a much more accurate picture, the universe will face its demise by very slowly running out of energy or heat. Given our current understanding of the expansion of the universe, which is not very much at all by the way, it appears the universe has been expanding at an increasing rate for billions of years, and logically physicists assume it will continue to do so. The force which hypothetically drives this expansion is known as dark energy, a name prescribed to it not because of its color or its properties, just the fact that we are in the dark as to what it is and how it really works, aka...
Shit, I don't even know, I can't even tell you that,
But as far as astrophysicists do know, dark energy is some property or energy contained in space-time responsible for this apparent pushing on the galaxies in the universe away from each other at an expanding rate, where physicists previously assumed they would come together as a result of gravity. If this dark energy and accelerating expansion continues in the way it has so far, all of the galaxies in the universe will be pulled so far apart from each other that no interactions or new galaxies will be able to form. Hundreds of billions of years from now, the existing stars in those galaxies will burn out all of their available hydrogen fuel, erupting in a final burst of light and existing as a dim shadow of its former glory, becoming dwarf stars. For the next few trillion years, galaxies will exist as some kind of corpse, barely burning by the light of the last dwarf stars and only illuminated by the occasional collision of these last heavenly bodies. As the white dwarfs burn out and fade to black, a blanket of darkness will fall over a once bright and vibrant universe. After some time, the only black dwarfs that will remain will be strung out into the vast emptiness, spared temporarily from being swallowed by a supermassive black hole. But even they too will eventually meet their maker. Black holes will be all that remain for quite a while, until even they whimper away and their mass is taken by Hawking radiation. And this is how the universe would finally end, as the matter which made up the stars, planets, and brains of this universe will exist as nothing more than pure radiation flying into nothing. The second possibility for how the universe ends is pretty similar to the first, but with an extra dose of terror added. This is the Big Rip. Not much can be predicted about the timelines of when this would happen until we learn more about the nature of dark energy. As you will see with the next theory as well, a lot of predictions we make about the future of the universe are heavily dependent on how dark energy will act. In this case, we assume that dark energy actually increases its density in space as it causes space to expand. In order to understand this, let's compare it to the previous heat death theory. In the heat death theory, dark energy does push objects out through space much in the same way, except the density of dark energy in any given area of space would remain the same, meaning that it wouldn't necessarily get stronger unless it is given greater distance to apply its force. In the case of the Big Rip, this is not so. Instead, the density of dark energy in any given region will actually increase over time, meaning that instead of just applying across galaxies, it will be strong enough to pull objects apart over much smaller distances. This scary alternative is sometimes referred to as phantom energy. Eventually, this phantom energy will pull galaxies apart with extreme ferocity, and after our galaxy is thoroughly isolated, we won't even be able to see any farther than the Milky Way, as the expansion of space over that distance will be faster than the speed of light. Eventually, the same will apply within our own galaxy, And within just a few million years, even our own solar system will be pulled apart as our beloved sun drifts and fades away into darkness. Soon after that, the Earth will be pulled to pieces as the expanding force of dark energy overpowers the bonds of the rock and iron which hold the planet together. Within a fraction of a second, this phantom energy will overpower even the chemical bonds which hold our molecules together, and the same will be true for the electromagnetic and nuclear force which holds our atoms and atomic nuclei together. So, as the name states, all of the matter in the universe will be uniformly ripped apart by the increasingly strong force of dark energy. All that will remain is the most fundamental particles which once made up the atoms that set the stage for the once grand universe. Ending number 3 is the Big Crunch. And don't ask me why physicists feel the need to put the word big into everything, but they should at least be consistent and call quantum interference something like Lil Wave. But I guess somebody already took that one for his rap career. Anyway, the Big Crunch assumes that somehow dark energy will not continue at its same density nor increase, but might actually stop completely or actually go ahead and throw it in reverse. So instead of the universe expanding forever, it's all going to get smashed back together by the forces of gravity and dark energy. In this case, it would still take at least tens of billions of years until we got uncomfortably close to other galaxies and started colliding with other celestial bodies. But this collision is actually not the thing which would kill us in this circumstance. If dark energy actually shifted and went in reverse, then we would experience an effect called a reverse redshift, or kind of a violet shift. Redshifting is a measured effect in the universe where objects like supernovae, which are always consistent in their wavelength of light, appear to actually shift to a lower frequency when observed in galaxies farther and farther away from us. So basically, as space stretches as a result of dark energy, the wavelength of light photons are stretched with it and become more red. If dark energy were to work the opposite way, you could see how much of the light surrounding us would be shifted towards violet or a much higher frequency. Given enough time and with dark energy continually increasing, we would actually be slowly cooked by high-frequency electromagnetic radiation until our planet gets hotter and hotter and we get exposed to even more dangerously high radiation. A while after we're gone, the entire universe will be pulled together into one supermassive black hole. Some theorists believe the universe would just stay this way as an infinitely dense point of space, but some believe this would open a new door of opportunity. If possible, the Big Bang could basically reoccur, launching all the energy and particles of the universe back into space in a period of rapid inflation just as it was 13.8 billion years ago. This means that the universe could be in an endless cycle of basically bouncing back and forth from a Big Bang to a Big Crunch over and over again. If this were true, it would mean that the universe is not the first of its kind, and many more beings just like us may have come before and asked the same exact question and had a lot of the same ideas on how the universe would meet its end. But the concept of which universe came before or after would be completely unknowable and logically incoherent, as all information would be destroyed in the Big Crunch and the universe would make a complete and utter reboot. The fourth possibility for how the universe could end may end up leaving you with an impending sense of instant doom, so continue at your own risk. This is vacuum decay. In order to understand this theory, I must preface it with a basic description of something called the Higgs field. The Higgs field, theorized by Peter Higgs in 1964 and proved by the discovery of the Higgs boson in 2012, is a field which permeates all of space and time and basically gives particles mass and the universe structure. One way to think about it is kind of like a body of water. When you swim through it, it will drag on you and slow you down. This is basically how it gives particles mass. But this field has a current energy state, which is kind of like a temperature. Except this energy state is what defines the mass of the particles and the structure of the universe. Recent findings indicate that this field may have had a different energy state in the birth of the universe. The theory of vacuum decay posits that if this Higgs field were to somehow fall back into that initial or a different state as a result of some quantum event, then it would cause a chain reaction that would extend throughout the universe. So basically, if this unpredictable and completely random event does occur, it would create a kind of bubble in the universe which would expand and shred through the fabric of space-time. When this bubble passes through and engulfs an object, it would change the laws of physics in such a way that its particles, atoms, and everything would not be able to retain its structure and the energy state of this new field and instantly disintegrate. This bubble would also expand at the speed of light, meaning we would never be able to see it coming and wouldn't even feel it when it passed through us. We would just instantly cease to exist entirely. The scary thing is this could theoretically happen at any given moment. But you can rest easy knowing that the calculated decay rate is something like 10 to the 100 years, so it would be extremely unlikely to happen anytime soon, if at all. The fifth and final outcome is the end of time itself. It might seem bizarre that time could somehow end, and maybe this is evidence that our understanding of how the universe works at a certain level is deeply flawed. Nonetheless, this theory does follow from a series of logical and mathematical predictions based on something called eternal inflation. Eternal inflation stems from the fact of inflation, which is the rapid expansion of the universe, especially during the Big Bang. If this inflation continues, which physicists assume it will, this leads to eternal inflation, a universe where bubble universes could fluctuate and pop into reality at any given moment. And within these bubble universes could form even more universes and on into infinite infinities. And since quantum events are determined based on the probability of total possible events, every probability would cancel out because all probabilities would equal infinity. The only way the multiverse could solve this problem of infinite infinities would be if time actually stopped. This way there would be a finite number of events that occur, with improbable events occurring less often than probable ones. I like to think of it kind of like when you're playing Minecraft and you start breeding way too many sheep. Eventually the software is incapable of calculating all the ones and zeros necessary to render the movement of all the sheep at once, and it causes the server to overload and crash, and your friends kick you out of the realm and they kill all your sheep. By the calculations of the experts who theorize this, time has a 50% chance of stopping within 3.7 billion years. In this case, the universe would not end or cease to exist necessarily. It would just be suspended forever in a final moment in time. If this puts your brain in a spiral, you're definitely not alone. Most experts do not treat this theory with serious merit, and it's not widely accepted as a serious possibility. But nonetheless, it is crazy to think about. So, whichever way you spin it, it does appear that the universe itself will reach its end at some point. Maybe it will bounce back, maybe it will pop itself out of existence, or maybe it will just burn out into a field of darkness. But if anything, we should be infinitely grateful for the fact that it even exists in the first place, and even more grateful for the fact that we can understand it through great and informative videos just like these. So if you're grateful for that, please hit the subscribe button and check out my channel to explore many other deep and important topics and learn more about our place in this vast universe. Smash that like button and comment any of your thoughts on the topic or opinions on the video. And as always, never stop questioning, talking, and thinking. Thank you.